Welcome to the official podcast of the National Pickleball League, where we go inside the NPL. Welcome, everyone. This is our final podcast of 2024. We had a fantastic season, ended up in the championships in Cincinnati with the Boca Raton Picklers winning the championships. What an amazing, amazing championships, guys. What did you guys think about it? We had 12 teams. They all played. The first 4 teams had byes. 5 through 12 played Friday, and then we played the top 8 and got down to the final 4, which ended up being the top 4 teams anyway. And then the winner of the top 4 ended up being the top seed, the Boca Raton Picklers. What did you guys think about that weekend?
Why don't we talk about some of the people that had the prediction of Boca winning the championship?
Me and you, Rick.
I was wrong.
Me and you, Rick, right? Me and you, Rick.
Hi, everybody.
The two of us, yes. Who'd you pick, David?
You know what? I don't even remember. I know I did not pick Houston.
He does
but
remember.
I'm pretty sure I picked Columbus because I really thought Columbus and Boca, there was a little bit of separation. I don't want to get Houston all pissed at me again, but I thought there was a little bit of separation between those two and everyone else, to be honest. So I did pick Columbus.
And Jen?
I picked Denver. You know, I like Scott Fiegelman. I think he's such a leader and great athlete.
Gosh, here you go again. I bet when we were playing them at Nationals, you're probably rooting for him instead of me and Daryl.
I root for everyone. I root for good points.
Oh, whatever.
No loyalty. No loyalty.
Unbelievable.
No, D&D all the way. Daryl and David always.
Well,
but no, I thought they were really strong team.
Yeah, well, Boca, just so you know the record, the first round they almost lost. They played Princeton, the 8th seed, right? And they only won 7-5. They were down. They came from behind, won 7-5. Then they played Denver in the semifinals. They actually really surprisingly beat Denver pretty handily, 9-3, which was a shocker. I thought it was going to be much closer. And in the championships, they played the number 2 seed, the Houston Hammers, and they beat them 8-4. So they really earned it, right? You got to give them the hands down. Me and Rick thought they were going to win it, but I also putting a lot of pressure on them, saying that they were going to win it, and they did. They came through as the number 1 seed. So you got to give kudos to Carl.
Great, solid team from top to bottom.
Carl, Rick Redemar, the owners, Murcha for capping the team, and all the players.
Sarah Williams, such positivity out there on the court. She works so hard, and Tao, and so just a great team.
You know, it started from day one for them. Michael, you and I obviously were privy to the draft real time. And I'm not surprised when they brought Mircha in, you know, Rick and Carl wisely acquiesced to some of Mircha's knowledge. He's boots on the ground at all these tournaments. And he just had a great draft. They had a great draft. So kudos to them. I will say that there were a lot of close matches. Like you said, Michael, I mean, Indy and Princeton had a really tight battle. And obviously then Princeton almost beating. I mean, I was there when it was 5-6, Boca and Princeton, and that mixed doubles match came down to the very wire in the 3rd game. It's just amazing how little differential there could be between being on the outside looking in and winning a decisive championship match. So my favorite match, to be honest with you, was in the semifinal between Houston and Columbus. Do you guys remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Those were great matches.
It was. And we moved that to the CC court. And I know that I believe it was Houston had to come back from down 5-6 to win that mixed doubles match to tie it at 6-all. And then they went to a team breaker. And it was just unbelievable, the ebbs and flows of that match. It was a packed house. Everybody was watching. What a great venue there at the Pickle Lodge. Everybody watching. It was just a great experience for everybody.
Yeah, no, it was great. Shout out to some of the team members. I just want to read off: Tracy Flynn, Susie LeBlanc, Pam Lippy, Jenny Purdy, Audrey Spielberger, incredible. Taylor, Carol Williams, Brian Levine, right? Alan Mendelson, Murcha, Peter Prodanoff, Brian Shapiro, Mark Redding, Tao, and Yvonne DeQuino. I'll give a hand to them all. Like good
job, Boca.
They did it. And I think there's going to be a celebration they're going to have on December 3rd and 4th in Boca. The mayor's going to throw them a parade. They're going to have a huge bunch of events, I heard, on the 3rd and 4th, and they're going to have a watch party because on December 3rd in the evening from 7 to 9 o'clock at night, CBS Sports, by the way, was there for our championship, filming our championships, and they're going to actually show it, the highlights from our championship, 7 to 9 o'clock, December 3rd at night. How good is that? CBS Sports came, filmed, and going to do a 2-hour special about our championships on December 3rd. So for the people that don't know about it, please come watch it on December 3rd, 7 to 9 p.m.
I can't wait to watch. I'm hoping this time that we beat Columbus. I know it was really close, but I hope when I rewatch it that we're going to get the W this time. I wanted to ask Rick, so how does it feel? We teased you all year because every time you had to mention world champion, Indy drivers. How does it feel to no longer be the world champ?
Well, I would be remiss if I didn't say that we did win it last year for the last time.
Okay.
I will never say that again.
No.
But
it's like once a president, always once a world champ, you're always a world champ. You were just world champ.
Not only,
don't encourage them.
Yeah.
well,
and you're the first winner ever, right? You'll always be the first winner ever.
That's true. Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, we didn't do what Boca's doing, and I'm really impressed with Rick and Carl and what they were doing with the mayor and a celebration and a watch. We didn't have any of that. So hopefully every other team's taking note because they did an incredible, Michael, as you well remember, they did an incredible press conference on just them entering into the league.
Yeah.
So they are the model to be, taking these experiences in a championship to then show off your team. Incredible. Great job, guys.
Yeah, and Rick, you mentioned for people that aren't in the league, 1 through 12, you'd think, such a difference between a team like on first versus the team in ninth. But Austin, the ninth team, we beat Boca and tied them. So we have the best record against Boca. So technically we're second.
Wait, if you're second and we beat you, does that make us like 1.5 places or something?
Anyway, my point being, all the teams are so close. So many matches came down to, tiebreakers and 7-5. I think everyone we lost, it was 7-5 or, so it was just, it makes it more fun to be that close in every match.
Well, Hammer Mike, I just wanted to say that, Boca's awesome. We all agree about that. Columbus, Houston, whatever. But on our podcast, the champions of the podcast would have to be the Kansas City Stingers because we beat both the Austin Ignite and the Indy Drivers over championship weekend.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
We did. Wow. We did. It was a battle, but we did overcome. We came in at 6 overall. We were seeded 7th. We came in 6. So we came in right about where we were supposed to, but we would have never heard the end of it if we lost to Jennifer's Austin team or Rick's Indy team, right?
Like
been the worst.
We should have had a tiebreaker. But anyway, good congratulations.
Dave and I haven't thought a second about you since that loss. But the reality is, if you recall, we had match points, like 4 or 5 of them, to tie that match up at 6-all to go to a team breaker. And somehow you guys turned it around.
I mean, multiple match points. I don't know if you feel better about that or worse about that, but you had so many chances and you didn't. We just kind of hung in there. And then when that last one flew just a little long, I was more relieved than happy because I did not want to play you in a tiebreaker. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And how about you have to give a shout out to your owner, your amazing owner, 100%. And one of your top, Daryl. He was not feeling well that weekend, so he was battling a stomach bug and out there, playing the best pickle.
Daryl Wyatt, he was one of the owners of Kansas City, and now one of the best players in our league. Daryl Wyatt, kudos to him, great guy as well. So yeah, him and Julie Gibson did a great job. Me and David loved being on Kansas City Stingers this year. We were fortunate.
What a great person, even great spirit.
Listen, that's nice. You're showing Kara Williams. Enough about Kansas City right now. So listen, you got to also give major kudos to a double champion back-to-back, Tao Tongban, from the Boca Raton Picklers, coming from the Indy Drivers, the only player to be on the championship teams for both years. Super shout out to you, Tao. You're a great leader. You're a great player. Super proud for you.
Yeah. Kudos. Good call, Rick, to mention Tao. He's a great player. And 2-time champion. The only 2-time champion, right, Rick?
Yeah.
Nobody
Correct.
else. Yeah. So he's going to have a
His
great celebration this year as well.
Tao's paychecks are going up, mine are going down. But I really like Kara Williams as a leader of that team as well. You know, we've obviously given Mircea some shout out, and I think Peter Prodnov, who I know, I won New York with him. He's a great player, and he just doesn't play a lot of tournaments. But their team was stacked. Taylor's improved so much. I mean, well, obviously Audra,
so good.
I mean, she's so good. Like that team was
Jenny
stacked.
Purdy, I mean, all the way
Jenny,
down. Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
Shapiro, amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. And give a shout out like Suzanne LeBlanc and Brian Levine. Brian Levine, who's on the board of MLP, who came to play in our league this year, and he's having as much fun, I think, playing in our MLP league. He does a great job. He plays really well, as he is probably, you know, with everything he does in MLP. So both he kind of helps run MLP, but he's a player in our league. So
yeah,
shout out to Brian for doing both as well. So you know what? We have a lot to talk about, but as we wrap up 2024, any other things? Because then we want to bring on a special guest. But any other thoughts about 2024? Our league, we expanded from 6 to 12 players. What were your thoughts about our league overall this year? Did everyone have a great time?
I do want to mention that the last thing that happened was my team beat one of the Kansas City Stingers in the All-Star game. And Michael, you should remember that vividly because I think you were commentating, and what an all-star game that was, finishing by 2 points. So it's proud to represent the Indy drivers on the winning team.
Yeah, that's a good point. I will say we did do an all-star team breaker for everybody that wasn't in the finals. So the 10 teams that didn't make the finals, we had an all-star team breaker, split up the teams to 2 sides, each side at 10 players, and it came down to 1 or 2 points. I think they're going to show that on the CBS Sports thing. Yeah. But that was a really exciting thing on Championship Day. And Rick, you guys all had a great time. These are the top players from all the teams playing one team breaker, and I could tell that all the players were having an incredible time. And we won't give away who won, but it was a close match, and one team was ahead, and another team came back, but you gotta watch it on CBS Sports. But you're right, Rick. That was a highlight of a championship weekend as well. So, anything else, Jen? David from 2024?
I just want to briefly say it's so much fun. You know, you're so sad that the league is over, and then you go to different tournaments. And literally, we finished on Monday. We were all in Newport, and I just thought it was funny that, you know, it's just so awesome to see your NPL family members. But here's Boca coming off this big high, and match 1 was Tao and Kara against like Mircea and Taylor. I mean, it was like, no, Brian Shapiro and Taylor.
Brian Shapiro and Taylor.
Yeah. So they had 4 Boca players playing each other first off. So of course they had a blast. But I just think it's just a credit to pickleball and all of us in general that you're like, you can be on a team against your teammate. So, you know, the league it just makes other tournaments so much fun. You have new partners, and we just had a blast at nationals playing with and against people from your team or other teams. So it's just a big, huge family.
You know, it was emotional for everybody. I mean, I can honestly say everybody was in tears from Indy, and we weren't one of the better teams this year. That's no secret. But we still loved each other and the experience and the growth. And that's the beauty of our league, that, you know, you're not a failure if you don't finish in the top. You know, you're still growing on your own journey as a team. And I can tell you there was a hell of a lot of withdrawal symptoms the day after, the week after, the month after NPL. It's like, can we start 2025 like now? Yeah. I think everyone wants to do that.
We need to start it quicker.
Yeah, I know. Well, we'll talk about it later at the end of the show. We'll talk about 2025. But, you know, first of all, we couldn't have done it in 2024 without you know, Gamma, big shout out to them for the official ball. Gearbox was another one. Ernie, the ball machine. Julian Coffee, right, that we drink in the morning, and Dave drinks all the time. He's still drinking it now. Fat Tire, DexaScan with bone density to check out. Yobo, right?
Yobo, Dream Cloud.
Yep, and Dream Cloud, thank you. And again, Fat Tire, we were drinking Fat Tires all every weekend, which is great too. But there's one sponsor that I think is really important. It's very important because think about it. We're all over the age of 50, some of us over the age of 60. All right. And, you know, prevention and recovery is a big part of it to stay healthy. And I knock on wood, right? But there were very few injuries this year in National Pickleball League. And I saw a lot of people with training, stretching, wearing Incrediwear stuff, as well as recovery afterwards, stretching and getting physical training. So I would like to bring out our special guest today, who is the founder and CEO of Incrediwear. His name is Dr. Jackson Corley, to talk to us a little about what it takes to stay healthy. Welcome, Dr. Corley.
I like my pink ones.
Hey, I after listening to you guys are having way too much fun on this podcast. I have a challenge for you, I think.
Oh, we love it.
Do a lot. We do so many amazing athletes, but why don't we have one team wear Incrediwear and the other not wear Incrediwear, and then we do a pickleball tournament, to see if really we can increase your performance or not. So,
well, I'm on the team that's wearing them because I'm never playing without them.
Yeah, and after our conversation, Dr. Corley, about how you can fix my ankle, I'm in. I'm on your team. I'm definitely on your team. So,
yeah, I love it.
But
I love that.
No, I was going to say, before we start, because we really wanted you to tell our listeners, which has really grown from like 30 in the beginning of the season to a lot more, about recovery and prevention. But before we do, you have such a great story about how you started Incrediwear, and you posted this on Facebook about how you had an incident, right, and hurt yourself, and that's how you started. Can you just tell everyone a little bit about your story, about the incident you have and how that changed your life and how Incrediwear started?
Yeah, no, I know. I appreciate you asking that. You didn't ask that in the pre.
No, I was saving that for this.
He always does that.
Switching me up. It really is a really good story, because I really do think divine intervention actually it was part of this, or at least some pickleballers that needed some help, in advance. But look, 2000, I did extreme sports. I was a sub 15-minute 5K runner, 30-minute 10K runner, did extreme skiing, extreme biking. And I went and did something without a partner. So I went out on a mountain bike ride all by myself, really steep, cliffy area. And I was by myself with no cell service. And it was about 5 o'clock at night at the end of December. So the sun goes down in like 10 minutes, but I have 10 miles to go. I'm all geared up and I'm going really fast. My saddle is a little too high. And we have a saying in skiing and also in mountain biking, where don't look where you don't want to go. And it's just like, look where you want to go. But really, when you're snow skiing, you don't want to look at the trees. You want to look at the path through the trees. And what happened was, I'm going down this really steep lava filled pathway. And I was like, don't look where you don't want to go. And I looked at a lava rock that was sticking out, and the lava rock, it was down a really steep ravine. My front tire hit the lava rock and it locked on it, and I flew through the air. So I flew about 25 feet. And it's so funny because I can remember Einstein's theory of relativity is if you're moving and time goes slower.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking over and I'm seeing the bike flip, and I actually landed. And the unfortunate thing is, you don't get injured if you could roll out of it. But what happened was I hit some rocks that stopped me and threw my hip sideways. And at the time, I really didn't know what I had done. No cell service. I take the bike, crawl up on up to the trail, and I ride home. And I didn't want to tell anyone, which I didn't. Took a shower, thought I maybe broke my wrist and my hip. And I thought, well, the next morning I got to ride with the guys again. So I get up and I did the same ride, but I couldn't stand up. So I was like this the whole way. I was bent over, and the guys are going like, can't you sit up straight? I was like, no.
Oh, wow.
You're a physician too, right?
Okay, you got to listen to the rest of the story because it gets better. How could it get better? Yeah. So here I finished the ride. I walked over the cliffy area, get home, and I was like, wow, I got a couple post holes that I need to dig. So I thought, well, it's stiff. So I started digging a couple post holes, and I was like, wow, I can stand up straight. By the end of the afternoon, I was thinking, wow, I guess I get to go on my 10-mile night run. So I put on my headlamp, I put on my waist lamp, and I head out on my 10-mile run. And I was just thinking, I was just sore. And halfway through the run, my foot started to drop. And I was like, uh-oh. Jen, you know this. You're in trouble.
Yeah. Really
when there's no pain, in your foot, but your foot's dropping, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And I think it was just all the adrenaline. So I got home. I went and jumped in the shower, and I toweled off my leg, and I couldn't feel my legs.
Oh my
And
goodness,
I couldn't feel either side. And I was like, oh, that's not good. Still didn't tell anyone. And then I went to bed and woke up, and that was the next morning. I started it. I usually get up at 4:30 in the morning. I got up, I couldn't walk. And I took one step and fell to the ground, made it to the phone, called my office and said, hey, you know what? I'm not going to be in today. I can't walk. And that was the beginning of Incrediwear, because then I was in a walker and a wheelchair for a couple months. I went to 4 neurosurgeons. They all wanted to fuse my spine. And I had an aha moment. You know, I'd studied germanium and carbon before. And I really was just, that was the beginning of Incrediwear. It's a great story because I got a back brace. I infused some fibers with germanium, which is a semiconductor. And man, within a few weeks, my foot drop started getting better and my back started getting better. And I was like, oh my God, what the hell is this? And so that's where Incrediwear started. And, you know, we all have stories in life. And I think that this is a really good one, even in pickleball. Pickleball started somewhere, you know, it started in the beginning, and all of a sudden it's got a life that's just like exploding now. And I kind of think Incrediwear is very similar because, you know, now with my invention of just helping me, we're in the Mayo Clinic and Johns Hopkins, and I'm at HSS, and I'm on Steph Curry and LeBron and
Wimbledon,
all these amazing Novak Djokovic and Zverev,
Right.
and
and
the line is
NPL.
yeah, and Jen, and you know, it's gratifying, and I think that was the beginning of something very special. And I didn't know at the time that it was going to be the first patented wearable anti-inflammatory. I mean, literally it gets rid of inflammation just by putting it on, and it increases blood flow. And now we're doing everything from brain fog to diabetes to post-surgery, which is the most amazing findings at day 21 of any other product on the planet. So,
well, talk about your product. Talk a little bit about your product, right? It's not compression. Like, what makes it so special, right?
Well, you asked the tough questions, but they're actually not that tough. Hey, listen, if you have Incrediwear, Jen's held them up. Embedded inside all of the products are germanium and carbon. They're semiconductors. They're woven into the filament of carbon of cotton and polyester. And what's really amazing, everyone has heard about this thing called infrared. You know, oh, I get infrared treatment. And now I just read a study this morning, infrared for cancer. It's having great effects, and infrared for inflammation. Well, what Incrediwear does is when your body touches it at 32 degrees Celsius, basically just needs some heat of your body. You don't have to plug in the wall. It starts activating these chemicals, these actually elements that are inside, and they release infrared and mid-level infrared optical waves and negative ions now, and it never stops. So just think about if you had an earthquake on the bottom of the ocean, it creates a tsunami wave, or if you throw a rock in a swimming pool, it creates those waves. And really, that's essentially what Incrediwear is doing. It's exercising without exercising. So it's vibrating your cells, never stops vibrating your cells. And really, you know, the reason why we don't heal and we don't recover well is called inflammation. And you know, you just told me over 60, you know, as you get out of bed and you're like, damn, am I going to play pickleball today? Or am I going to just like, how many games am I going to play?
Right.
Because you're judging your day on how you feel. And when you wear Incrediwear, it takes that inflammation away with no pills, no drugs or anything. And it never stops as long as you're wearing it. And so it doesn't matter if you have a headache or a, you know, back pain. We just finished the study at Johns Hopkins on spine, on back injuries. Can't wait for that one to come out. And, you know, as we develop more and more different products for pickleballers, we just did. I will tell you that everyone on the show should be wearing these. This is I just made this for Novak Djokovic and for Messi and Ronaldo. And I'll send all the guys and all the girls here. You wear this, and in 3 hours, your recovery is 30% less muscle fatigue using surface EMG. And overnight, it's 40%. So if you're wearing them, it's just amazing.
So how long should we be wearing this stuff for? Like,
You should
oh,
You should
all
have a
day.
I
bodysuit.
slept in mine last year because my knee hurt so bad, and it reduces like fatigue. Like I just feel like I tell my patients, because Jackson, you're medical, but everyone doesn't understand the
Yeah.
journey, all that other. It is like a hug. It's like I would say, it's a hug for your knees. So it's not just it does provide some support, obviously, and compression, but within, like I say, be careful when you take them off, and don't just crumple them up, and don't just throw them, because that fiber is what is the biggest difference. That's why, and they backed it like before we even partnered. I said, I want to see the FDA research. You've done all the work behind the product too, with your studies.
It's amazing. And one of the things that there's things that we don't even know. Like we just published a study on Tissue and Cell magazine where we take a stem cell, which you produce when you're injured or you work out, and you wear Incrediwear, and it'll change the stem cell into a non-scar tissue cell.
Wow.
And so that's the magic. Right now we're finding out all these different things that it does. And imagine the reason why your ankle is messed up is because you have scar tissue.
Right.
And the scar tissue causes arthritis.
Inflammation. Yeah.
Hey, Jackson. So I'm already past the preventative stage, as you can see. Please tell me what I need to do to benefit the most from your product at this stage of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do all we do the trauma things. We do the studies on all that, ACL and total knee. Look, you want to be wearing, you asked the question, how much should you be wearing it? Well, right now we're finding that if you wear Incrediwear, it has the potential to regenerate your skin tissue. We're looking at anti-aging. We're looking at, what does it do on a muscle and to a tendon that you just tore? Well, if you wear it, basically what it's going to do is it puts the waves in, never stops vibrating the cells, so you get rid of the swelling. Now, we know, the lymphatic system, that's like the sewer system of the body, we always thought it was just controlled by contraction of the muscle. So, dude, I see you in your boot there. Is your foot moving?
Yeah.
Not so much.
No. But if you wear Incrediwear, it'll never stop vibrating the cells. So It's almost like exercising without exercising. So the answer to your question is yes. I have a product for you that's specifically for your injury, and you need to be wearing it 24/7. You can take a shower in it if you want, but really, right now, if you were gonna wear our product for prevention and you wear it just while you're playing, the chances are of being injured is like 67% less. We did that study.
Wow.
So if you wear, just think the reason why you get injured, like in the first quarter of a game or the last half of the game. The first quarter is because you're not warmed up. And the last one is because you're fatigued. Right. And what Incrediwear does is if you wear it before you work out, it actually is warming you up because it's bringing blood and nutrients to the area. And then as the game goes on, you're getting fatigued. And so at the end of the game, if I can bring more oxygen and nutrients, you're not going to be as fatigued. And look at, there's certain injuries like ACL where it's non-contact, or maybe there's a gastrocnemius that your foot just gets in a weird position. And that angle is something that, look, Incrediwear can't stop you from, not being right. But look at, where we're great with pickleball is, look, we want you to be able to play 3 or 4 hours a day. And then tomorrow get up and play again. And then the next day get up and play again.
Yeah, I'm in.
That's why we're on the planet. You wear our new women's pants or men's pants or underwear or whatever it is, it's going to allow your body to heal faster. And healing faster it's all about recovery. Recovery allows you to go and do all that stuff. And recovery helps you prevent injury. So it's all wrapped in one little package.
If you can fix my ankle, I'm wearing it 99% of the time. There's 1% of the time I'm not going to be wearing it, and I won't tell you when. But my what?
Oh my!
Really, Michael? Come on, we're doing so well.
Next is going to ask you for the ladies' pants. I mean,
you stole all of our questions anyway.
Yeah, we are going in that direction, by the way. We're making clothes to be able to help.
Yeah, see? There you go, David. I'm asking a good question.
My
again.
turn.
Great question.
I wish I could mute you. We even talked about this. I've even had my notes. I've heard the story of the bike fall, and then you told us. So thanks, Michael. So here's my question, Jackson. So I know, you're almost an evangelist, right? With your zeal for life, for activity, trying to help, almost changing the world. I think on the little TikTok things that I get with your face and talking all the time, that you talk about changing the world. I know you're at the foremost at medical research. You've hinted at that stuff before. I'm a PhD, not a medical doctor. So in common parlance, so I could understand what's next. All right. What's on the horizon?
Healthy clothes. Healthy clothes. We're doing studies right now that I named all the things, brain fog for people that have had chemotherapy to diabetic neuropathy. These are all amazing conditions that people have, but really you and I want to live a happy life. And every time you wake up in the morning and you judge your day by how you feel, or how you're feeling sitting in the chair right there, that's something I don't want to experience. And so I've been developing, you guys here on the Pickleball channel get to see the first one. The shirt's coming out in February. So the shirts actually we're testing for everything from increasing your oxygen ability to being able to increase your ability to regenerate skin tissue, so that, we all want to keep young, but we also want to be able to feel amazing. So on the horizon is being the standard of care for all of the different surgeries. You have a surgery, and if you can heal faster, we have a study showing that you can heal 50% faster from sprains and strains. What if you don't ever have a sprain or strain? Wow. Hallelujah. But just think, if I can make you feel good, that's going to be amazing. In pajamas, you wake up and you're feeling good. I just think I want to really tackle and it has to be studied. It has to be biochemically studied to show that I improve or decrease the biochemical markers of swelling, of inflammation, and then also increase maybe serotonin levels. And that's the goal, and it's going to come. It's coming right now. And
Jackson, I remember we spoke a few months ago when we talked about I work with all these spinal fusion surgeons, and they're doing scoliosis revision. So some of these surgeons are standing for hours and hours doing these, and you said you're going to put the technology in their scrubs.
Yeah,
so
that's
doing,
Wow.
It's a secret.
Okay, sorry.
So I was
in clothing,
a very, very in your area, a very, very big hospital chain, famous one, came to me and asked me if I'd make the first anti-fatigue scrub wear.
Wow.
Okay.
And we've already done the study showing that I can actually reduce your fatigue level. And so I actually am wearing the socks that we're sending to this place. I can't name the name. They're amazing. I've worn them 2 days in a row. They feel amazing. And then scrub line or clothesline. If you're not fatigued, then again, how many hours of pickleball are you going to play?
Yeah.
Double the number of pickleballs, hours that you guys can play. Man,
Yeah.
I better be your evangelist, and I better be your hero, because the bigger the event, the bigger the problem, the bigger the hero at the end. So hopefully I can be a pickleball hero for you guys.
I love that.
But you're still playing tennis. Come on. We love tennis. We're from tennis, all of us. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do play tennis every day.
Every day. Every
day. Now I try to work out 3 hours a day. So I get tennis in. I start really early. So
Jackson, you've educated us a ton, and I appreciate your knowledge, and I'm sold. I've been sold on Incrediwear for a while. My parting question for you is if you could possibly give us some anti-fatigue podcast wear, because some of the people on this show talk too much. And so if we could wear that while we're on the podcast, we'd really enjoy the show even more.
Yeah.
I actually like that idea. I think it starts with what you're sitting on. So we'll send you one of those, And then I'll send you a beanie so it's in both directions.
Yeah. Exactly. You know how much fun we're having. This is a great group in the NPL. We laugh, we kid, we harass each other, and then we try to beat each other's brains out on the pickleball court. But at the end of the day, this is a new community, right? Pickleball for 50-year-olds to be able to have a second life in playing something really competitively. But you're a big part of it, Incrediwear, to be able to keep us healthy so we can play for many, many years. So that's why we're very curious, and our audience very curious, is what do we need to do to continue to stay healthy, to not get injured? And if you're talking about reversing like arthritis, like that's something I want to spend more time on because that's a game changer, Dr. Corley. Like that is really something I want to get closer to you about for sure.
Also, Jackson, as far as our sponsors are concerned, you were one of the first to jump in. And we are now hearing, Michael and I know this, and Beth too, that so many sponsors are now moving towards our demographic, the 50 plus, because we are the ones, that have this discretionary income to buy it, but also need it. So thank you for being one of our first sponsors, because now you kind of open the floodgates for people to realize, whoa, this 50 plus crowd of pros that are really high level athletes, it's kind of where their sweet spot is now.
And it's here and it's in your heart, because when I go around the pickleball courts, man, I hate to say, Jen, there are way more pickleball players than there are tennis players anymore. What can we do? Well, number one is I would actually, if you're not trying Incrediwear wise, I'm going to give you actually the whole thing about, you guys need to understand that, look, we're not young anymore and we can get injured really easily, and it can be really, really fast. So being able to wear something that's going to affect that, I would actually do the socks and the underwear for sure. And an arm sleeve as prevention, as a starter. And then, stretching, I have to, yoga is probably one of the best things that we could ever do. I think that the other thing is that I'm really big into nutrition as well. And I think a lot of the things that we eat have an effect on, our ability to play well at the same time. So I think people need to really be cognizant about those things that they're ingesting. N is amazing. DMP, all these other amazing things that help us keep young and smart. But really, Incrediwear wise, man, I'll tell you what, there's nothing like putting on an Incrediwear leg sleeve after you do your pickleball and you wear it for 3 hours. 3 hours later, you're going to feel like you didn't even play 3 hours before. And remember, we do all the pros, all the NBA, NFL. That's what they're wearing. The number one product the NFL buys and NBA is our leg sleeves, because they make you feel amazing. And so I would try to at least take care of that lower extremity, because that's what's going to keep you on the court. The upper extremity, you can always switch to left hand, but in the lower extremity, man, your knee goes, your calf goes, your Achilles goes, you're sitting on the sidelines. So Incrediwear for the lower extremity, 100%.
And people cannot stop strengthening. I tell my patients even today, I was like, for especially that 40 plus group, the cardio is less important. They get that in their daily lives being active, but time is a tissue stealer and you cannot sacrifice strength. The only thing that will support your joint is muscle tissue. So every year it's harder. Every year we lose more muscle tissue. So, I would say I'm big on your hips. I'm big on your core, because that's the only thing that's going to help your knees and help, obviously you want to be lighter and stronger. So you just cannot sacrifice the strengthening component. We all love playing pickleball, but it's not enough. You have to take the time off the pickleball court or tennis court to do the work, so your muscles are strong and your joints are supported.
I only play tennis an hour a day, but I work out 2 hours a day, lifting weights, swimming, and little spinning. You got to do it all.
Yeah, you do.
Don't sacrifice.
I mean, we are making I always say, you used to always say your summer bodies are made in the winter, but our 6-year-old bodies are made in our 50s. You can say that for every decade. So, even with my 84-year-old patient today, I'm like, you're not using a walker yet. So it's the fight is worth fighting, Yeah,
no, it's great. Well, Dr. Corley, this has been awesome, really entertaining and really knowledgeable and great learning. Is there any closing words you want to say to our audience of 50 plus players? Like, what is the closing words that we should all remember from you?
Hey, live life without limits. Live life without limits. Don't limit yourself from doing whatever you want to do. And we're there to help.
Great.
Awesome.
Well,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Jackson Corley, founder and CEO of Incrediwear. We are all big believers in you. Hope to talk to you again soon.
Thanks,
okay,
Scott.
ciao.
Keep on.
Thanks, Jackson.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow, that was pretty cool, huh?
Awesome.
It would have been cooler if I would have got to ask some of these questions that you said I was going to be able to ask. I literally made these notes, and then like all of a sudden, that was Michael.
Cranky. He's going to pout
again.
Look, he's going to pout now. He didn't get to talk.
I know. He's always Eeyore. Nothing changes. Never changes. Eeyore. He's my roommate. He's my roommate, but he always complains about me. And he loves me one day and he hates me another day. You know, it's kind of like, you know, the bromance that ends and begins again. And anyway, I'm going to miss you guys. You know, this is our last podcast. But before we go, we want to talk a little bit about the NPL, not the NPL champion, the USA Pickleball Championships that happened a couple weeks after our NPL championship. I would like to give kudos, even though Rick harasses me all the time. He loves to harass me, but I've bromances with all you and Jen, I love you too. But what Rick did at the USA Pickleball Championship was incredible. How he got hurt in a big match in the semifinals, 1-1, the game started against two other top NPL players. He was battling all along. I thought you were going to play. You hurt your calf. You know, I'll keep the story short, but you hurt your calf, you injured, called a medical timeout. You could barely walk. And I'm saying there's no way, and Jose DeRisi and Stefan were great players too, and you're playing Jaime. There's no way that Jaime and Rick can beat Jose and Stefan in the semifinals. And you played like a heart of a lion. You came out and you guys beat them in 2 sets. It was one of the most incredible games I saw. You lost in the finals against two other great players, right? Murcha and David Weinbach, another two NPL players. So all the top players were from NPL. You lost, but you went 3 sets and you lost by 3 points. And you gutted that one out too. And you gave it all. So I just got to give you a shout out, Rick. You didn't win the championship at NPL this year, but I'm proud of you as a co-founder for playing like a heart of a champion in the USA Pickleball Championships in Arizona recently.
Well, that's super nice of you. The reality was that I talked to the trainer and he said that if I continue to play, I absolutely could be going to surgery. The truth is, I don't know if I need surgery or not. My leg is hurting as we do this podcast right now. It's throbbing, but you know, David would have done the same thing. Michael, you and Jen would have done the same thing, that you're not going to let your partner down at nationals. You're in a climactic moment of the semifinals. You know, I've certainly lost to Dave and Daryl. We were lucky to squeak by them. And I just wanted to give it a chance. And I hope that, you know, it showed a little bit of a courage, you know, because I do think my parents taught all 8 of us children well. You know, Ben Shell and Todd Witsken, we're all athletes. And ultimately, I do feel like I represent the NPL when I'm out there competing. So kudos to Mircea and Dave, who won it. I don't know why in the world Mircea asked me if I was having cramps. No, Mircea, it's a lot different than the cramp. But anyway, so many great performances. And look at our co-founder, Beth, who just came back from 14 months. I was heartbroken not being able to play mixed doubles with her because of my leg. But what Beth did in women's doubles, I mean, how much should we revere that? What an amazing accomplishment.
Yeah, give her a shout out, Beth.
Good job, Beth. She played awesome, her and Natalie.
Beth Bellamy, our co-founder, and Natalie Bagby, who's another NPL player, won gold in women's. They had an incredible tough draw. They were playing the top players like 3 rounds, and they won them all. But
I think they had Lee Whitwell and Lisa first round because we
did.
And they had Sherry Quarter next round. They had Jen Dawson, our teammate from Kansas City. It was a stacked round. So a shout out to Beth and Natalie for winning gold, but a shout out to all the NPL players who battled hard and represented us very well at the USA Pickleball Championships.
It was a blast.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So that's great. So you guys, anything you want to think about for 2025 as we close out 2024? Thoughts about 2025 and NPL, and, you know, are you excited for another year and coming up? You know, it's right around the corner, right? Right after the holidays, we start thinking about, you know, tryouts and the combine.
You say that, Michael, but like Jen and I are like, we're not going to try out. So we want let's get on it. Can we start a little bit earlier? That's our complaint all the time. That's our only complaint. Like, they're like, we love it so much that we just literally want to start. Like, why do we have to go from, like November, December, January, February, March, April? Like, we're going to go 6 months, 7 months. Like, come on, let's do something in the off season. Let's get it going.
We're not the founders. We are the players. We represent, we don't want to wait. It's like when, the next episode, oh, wait, you wait for Yellowstone for like a year and a half. No, we want to go.
I don't always know how Michael's going to respond to things, but I'll respond for Michael. Michael is what he's thinking is, Jen and David, if you knew what we knew and what we have to go through to get this new Epiphany 2025, you'd understand the timelines that we actually feel pinched for time to execute what we're going to do in a beautiful way in 2025. Trust us, morning, day, and night. We're working, we're on calls, we're on emails, and I cannot wait to bring you this new foundation of NPL because there are some significant changes that are going to be beautiful changes and you all will benefit from. The only thing I hope is that I'm on each of your teams because I love you three.
Oh, well, we're going to be always on the podcast team, right? This is the podcast team. We might not be on the same NPL team. We might get drafted by different players. And David might miss me because he might not be my roommate if he gets drafted by another team. But
he can room with Rick.
Yeah, he can room with Rick, right? Exactly.
No, it is honestly, I mean, we know we're kidding because we don't do any of the work. We get to just show up and play, that's exactly what I want to do. I don't want to be an owner or I just love being able to show up and play because the sport's so much fun. But it doesn't go unnoticed how much work, and we appreciate that you even created this league. It came right when I turned 50. I'm an empty nester. It has brought so much joy. I just can't wait. It's like going to a reunion or going to a party. It's more fun than I've had in a long time. And for that, I really thank you guys for starting this league because I just absolutely love it. The friendships. I mean, I love to compete. I'm a competitor. I've played sports my whole life, but all these new friends and new cities. I'm telling people, when you're in Chicago, you can stay with me I've had new partners to play with and it's just been awesome. It's just been an awesome thing. So for so many people. So thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even remember who we were with. We were with a group where Jen and I at Nationals, and we were trying to reminisce a little bit and thinking back just what has happened in our lives in the past year and a half. And there's no way I could have even foreseen half of what's happened, in pickleball and the NPL specifically. And it really is quite amazing. So when you stop to think about what your life was like 2 years ago, right? When you first had the idea and like where it is now, you must be pretty proud. Like Jackson talks about having pride in his products, and like you two should probably feel tremendous source of pride just in 2 years, like what it's been in 2 years.
David, when you see on the forum, Mircha posted that video of us all hugging after the championship, we're all four in the NPL, and it does bring you closer playing in the NPL. You are a family, and you feel that every step of the way. I do want to say something that's really important, and I want to give even more kudos to the women than the men in this regard. But to the top players like David and so many other of the men and the women that are the top Pod 1 players that don't get to choose their partners and play in our league. We see you, we feel you, and we know who you are, where you're being unselfish and you realize that it's okay to lose. You're representing your team, you're representing a city, you're representing the owners that have invested in you. Thank you so much to all the players, but especially the top players that have been unselfish to be okay with losing and realize the greater good of being on an incredible team that's going to end up in tears because of so much love at the end of the season. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you to all the players, but especially the top players that believed in us.
That's great. That's great. And just want to give a shout out to the 12 teams too, right? That made our league. Without the 12 teams, we wouldn't have a league. The 12 teams and their owners that believed in us, in addition to the Boca Raton Picklers, they're the champions. We had the Austin Ignite, the Coachella Valley Scorpions, the Columbus Hotshots, right? The Denver Iconics, the Houston Hammers, the Indy Drivers, Rick's team, our team, the Kansas City Stingers, the Naples JBB United team, the OKC Punishers, the Princeton Bruisers, and also the Seattle team, which has recently changed their name from the Seattle United Pickleball to Seattle Tsunami.
Tsunami.
I just hope they still have that cute mascot.
Yeah. No. Well, we'll see. We'll see next year, right? I can't wait. It's around the corner. But I just want to also give a personal shout out to the three of you. Rick, obviously, as my co-founder, we started this league together 2 years ago with Beth. And thank you for also taking a busy time to do this podcast with us. We've had a lot of fun. Jen, Bone Crusher, Gallwas. You start from the beginning a little bit quiet, but you really got your rhythm going as the season got along. And I just am excited to have you on a podcast and talk to us and make fun of us three boys. Boys will be boys, and you kind of keep us in line, which is great. And then, of course, to my partner on the Kansas City Stingers, my roomie, also my podcast guy who always harasses me, but David, Eeyore, Professor George, whatever we call you, or Dr. Evil. It's been fun.
It's stick. I'm sorry, it's sticking.
It's been fun with the three of you this
yeah,
year.
well, and kudos to David for being the villain at times, because I really think that's more interesting to hear a guy that's kind of like maybe throwing a team under the bus or rooting for one over the other. Like, every podcast needs that. I know David's a super awesome guy, but thank you for taking a little bit of a twisted view at times, David.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. I'll miss you three the most. We can cut that so no one will hear it. But no, I love all three of you. I mean, I can't imagine my life without you three.
Oh.
Great.
Awesome.
I always wanted brothers.
Yeah. Well, that's so cool. Well, on that note, I'd like to say on behalf of my partners, David, the Professor George, Rick, Ripskin Witsken, and Jen Bone Crusher Gallwas. This is Michael Hammer Mike Chen saying thank you for listening to Everything and the Kitchen Dink, where we go inside the National Pickleball League. And as a reminder, please stay tuned and watch us on December 3rd, CBS Sports, 7 to 9 p.m., where they highlight our championship weekend. Thank you all. Thank you for tuning in to the official podcast of the National Pickleball League. Please stay tuned, as we will be back soon with our next episode as we go inside the NPL.